So good morning, everyone. I'm going to present an unusual case of anterior dislocation of lens and blunt ocular trauma to the post-cataract surgery eyes can cause artificial lens dislodgement in subconjunctival space, suprachoroidal space, which is and can even lead to expulsion of the implant from the eyeball. Pseudophacoseal is defined as a displacement of the artificial lens, which is implanted cataract surgery in subconjunctival space. The term pseudophacoseal was coined by Biedner in 1977. This condition needs differentiation from phacoseal, which is defined as a traumatic displacement of normal crystalline lens in subconjunctival space. This condition is one of the emergency condition in ophthalmic science predisposing to development of endophthalmitis. Since the condition is very rare, sufficient data on the visual status and outcomes in such subjects is very limited. However, early and timely intervention may improve visual outcomes in such patients. We are documenting an unusual case of fractured intraocular lens dislocation in subconjunctival space due to blunt trauma. Farmer presented with chief complaints of diminution of vision, pain, and redness by following blunt trauma by cow horn 15 days back. He consulted a local practitioner who gave him some topical medications. His pain and redness got relief, but diminution of vision persisted, for which he was referred at an advanced center. His old records revealed a complete hyphema on first day after injury, which resolved with above medications. He gave the history of extracapsular cataract surgery with posterior chamber PMMA lens implantation in a government hospital 5 years back. On ocular examination, his visual status was hand movement near face and perception of light and accurate projection of rays in all the four coordinates in right eye, and the left eye was normal. Conjunctiva appeared to be congested mildly in affected eye. PCI was seen in the anterior chamber along with a broken haptic, which had migrated into the subconjunctival space in the perilimbal area supratemporally. The cornea was apparently clear with normal sheen. Pupil was U-shaped due to absence of iris in the superior quadrant. Vitreous stents were present in the anterior chamber. Intraocular pressure in traumatized eye was 6 millimeter mercury, and in other eye was 16. Anterior and posterior chamber evaluation in non-traumatized eye showed unremarkable findings. Fundus examination in the affected eye showed a hazy media on distant direct ophthalmoscopy, and direct ophthalmoscopy via aphakic part showed a normal disc findings and scarring at macula. Slit lamp fundus examination with 78D revealed mild vitritis. Indirect ophthalmoscopy showed normal peripheral fundus. B-scan ultrasound was done of the affected eye, which reported mildly increased frequency suggestive of vitreous inflammation. Subsequently, patient underwent conjunctival peritomy with removal of haptic and PCIOL. Vitrectomy was done anteriorly and sclera was sutured with absorbable vehicle sutures. Anatomical integrity of eyeball was restored by formation of chamber. Vision got improved to finger counting at 3 meters. Vitreous was not incarcerated in the wound. After 6 weeks, patient underwent scleral fixation along with vitrectomy through pars plana route in the second setting. Patient's visual condition came up to 636 in right eye after 6 months of follow-up. Intraocular pressure was 12 millimeter of mercury at previous visit, and fundus revealed mild disc pallor with vertical CD ratio of 0.3 and macular scarring. Blunt trauma rarely causes subconjunctival displacement of IOL in post-cataract surgery patients. Identification of dislocated IOL can be done by slit lamp, fundoscopy, ultrasonography, or ultrasound biomicroscopy. Though USG B scan and UBM are contraindicated in open globe injuries as they carry the risk of intraocular infection and bulging outwards of the ocular contents. Extensive subconjunctival bleed with or without uveal tissue covering displaced IOL and hyphema challenges the diagnosis in slit lamp examination. This makes ultrasound useful tool in diagnosis of displaced IOL. The cause encountered most frequently of pseudophacoseal is blunt trauma. Though self-sealing sclerocorneal tunnel is stronger than sutured limbal wound, as shown in various studies, in cases of patients who have used steroids for longer duration post-operatively or in poor wound construction, self-sealing tunnel remains weak. Large wounds with premature entry or deep tunnel, if left unsutured, poses the risk of defective healing even after long time after surgery following manual SICS. Hence, in these cases, sutures should be placed so that such potential vision threatening conditions can be stopped from occurrence. The management of this condition depends on various factors such as time of reporting, visual acuity, presence of inflammation or infection, iris status, posterior capsule status, status of vitreous status, and retinal detachment. Several studies propose good visual prognosis after aphakic correction, IOL implantation after vitrectomy or primary repair. It is mandatory to extract the IOL, which has been displaced, and repair sclera so that endophthalmitis can be prevented. Broken IOL and its haptic, if left subconjunctively, may lead to erosion of sclera, perforation of globe. Narang et al. Published good visual recovery in 3 out of 5 cases in a study in which they performed vitrectomy. To conclude, blunt ocular trauma should be treated as an ocular emergency in order to prevent dreadful complications like endophthalmitis. And take-home messages: each and every ocular trauma should be reported at an earliest for better visual outcomes. Population masses should be advised adequate safety measures in order to prevent injury to the eyeball. Thank you.
So what was your final diagnosis?
Ma'am, it was a fractured IOL with a haptic in subconjunctival space and IOL in the anterior chamber.
And what about the vitritis? Was there endophthalmitis associated, or it was just...
No, ma'am. There was mild vitritis.
And how frequent it is to find such a presentation in trauma cases?
Ma'am, it is a rare phenomena, and incidence is very less, I would say.
Okay.
One question from my side.
Yes, sir.
You said that it was a blunt injury, right?
Pardon, sir? It was a...
No, you said that it was a blunt injury.
Yes, sir.
So in a blunt injury, when you don't have any uval incarceration, when the globe is almost intact, might be soft. So why didn't you go for a ultrasound?
So we did an ultrasound.
But you quoted in their take homes that ultrasound is contraindicated.
So yes, sir. The ultrasound is contraindicated in these cases because they carry the risk of infection. But we did the ultrasound in this case, in which we saw mild vitritis.
So there was no vitreous hemorrhage?
There wasn't any vitreous hemorrhage. There was only vitreous cells present.
Okay. And second question is that you said that after removing the broken lens and the haptic,
yes, sir.
So you had gone for a vitrectomy and secondary IOL.
Yes, sir.
So on what basis you thought that secondary IOL at this acute stage will be good? Why can't you do it in a stepwise manner? You could have done a pupilloplasty also in that irregular, wide, broad rail track pupil.
So the patient presented with a U-shaped pupil. The iris was already in the supranasal quadrant. It was already incarcerated. So we had to remove it at the first sitting. When we removed it, the haptic, the broken haptic and the IOL. And after waiting for 6 weeks, since the inflammation was much, so we waited for 6 weeks for the second sitting for the implantation of secondary IOL.
Okay. I think for better this thing, no, you could have gone for a pupilloplasty. That could have been much better.
Sure, sir.
Along with the secondary IOL whenever you have done.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Otherwise, the presentation is nice, right? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Very nice presentation. Only one thing I wanted to ask you is, I think the ultrasound is something not contraindicated per se. It depends on each and every case. Like in your case also, you could have done ultrasound.
Ma'am, I have done it, which showed mild vitritis. And ma'am,
I am not able to hear you.
So the contents can come out easily and... Hello?
Please go ahead.
So the contents can come out easily, and in fact, the gel which is being used in ultrasound, that can cause that can penetrate inside the eye, which can cause secondary infections. That's why I said that it is relatively contraindicated. It's not contraindicated.
Yeah, it depends on the case. Nice case, Tanmay.
Thank you.